Hello there and welcome back to Lord of the Rings Realms in Exile, where we have just arrived at a strange land. Despite my own dread, I have managed to enter the lands of the south, escaping those of the horsemen of the Green Plains. As the legends say, many of the folk here are indeed tall, some standing head and shoulders above me. Yet I have found no demons here yet. Their tongues are strange and I do not grasp them yet, but they appear to eat food, to laugh and cry as my own folk do. Yet that is where the similarities end. Great houses of stone line roads of finely paved stones. Rich markets resound with merchant cry near and far. And yet among them I count nary a weapon, though the occasional watchman and soldier in regal silver stands at vigilance. Frankly, it is overwhelming. I have seen more riches here than I have seen in all my days, and that is before I have even entered the gates of the great cities I spy afar. Though some view me with wariness, others pay me no heed, and so I can pass through without harm. After a few days I managed to encounter a merchant who knows my tongue if roughly, and who is willing to let me know if there is work that may succor me. As I await for his word, my mind turns with wonder at the lands around me. Perhaps I was always meant to come here. I feel as if my eyes have been opened, and the whole world lies before me. So, we now gain the trait of foreign inspiration, which we'll look at in a moment. I will see all the wonders of this wide world. So staying in the de jure borders of the empire in which you arrived, you will slowly gain experience in the relevant tracks in the foreign inspiration trait, which you need to access. Return to Mistrand. Special contracts will spawn every couple of months, allowing you to explore certain areas, providing additional rewards. I march on, no longer in fear, but with zeal for the future. And there we go. We have arrived in the small town of Pelennor. So we have yet to make it to the capital, but as you can see, we now have a new exploration mission, which, if you can't tell, this is the core of the start of this playthrough. So, let us journey to Minas Tirith. In these distant lands, far from those of my birth, there are countless new sights to see and experiences to be had. The region of Minas Tirith has reached my ears. It sounds like there is work there enough to support me for a time. It could also be valuable to me in other ways, so let us take the contract. I have managed to secure a position as a manual labourer and guard on a merchant group heading to the region of Minas Tirith. Hopefully the journey will go smoothly and without incident, and that there will be work and time enough to explore once I arrive. We leave at dawn, my friends. Also, I just want to check something. Did we have a special building down here? We did. So as we explore, I also want to read up on these buildings, because it offers us some more lore and insight as well. So after much effort and cost, the Rummus Echo at last stands strong and proud. Fully rebuilt and restored, the townlands and fields of Pelennor now stretch from the outer wall of Minas Tirith to the Rummus Echo, a safely defended garden in which the flowers of Gondor thrive. It shall endure as a testament to the long watch of the stewards. Interesting stuff, right. And there we go, we have already arrived at Minas Tirith. Probably a 20-30 minute walk at best. Minas Tirith, the locals call it. Madness may be more appropriate. It is as such a mountain as a city, formed of 7 rising layers, each with their own walls so tall that they must have surely been wrought by giants. Surely not even the walls of Mistrand, supposedly crafted by the hands of gods, can compare to such. Within the walls, from hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of souls, dressed in finery and speaking in the odd dual tongues of this land. Fine houses, marketplaces, fountains, and even parks are built in the great concentric rings. And many more delved into the rock face itself, taverns, storehouses, armories, libraries, and more. I am told the highest levels are reserved to the upper nobility, and the ruler of Gondor themselves. Such a fortress as this could not be taken even if all the tribes of the Grassies were gathered together, though it does make me wonder what foe could the builders of such a citadel fear to root it so. The Tower of God indeed. And just like that, we have now gained experience in foreign inspiration, and Obad has lost some stress, it seems. Good for him, I haven't though. So, our foreign inspiration trait. At the moment we get different culture opinion, different faith opinion, control territory, defender advantage, and travel speed. We are currently visiting Gondorian City, so if we get that to level 4, we get +1 martial, +5 advantage. But we also get this stuff as well. That gives us another 3 defender advantage and a stewardship. That gives us another 2 advantage, and this one gives us another 1 advantage. Right. So there's a lot to be had there. And then once we're done with Gondor, we shall visit Harazan and the Unbarian cities as well. Ooh. Exciting stuff. And as you can see already, we have our next region. But first, let us read the lore of the Tower of Ecthelion. So the White Tower has loomed high over the plains of Pelennor and the halls of the kings since 1900 of the Third Age, when it was constructed by King Kalimetar. It was built in 2698 by the steward Ecthelion I, after whom the tower is known. The guards of the citadel are named for their stations on top of the level of Minas Tirith, guarding the courtyard sitting in front of the tower and the Hall of Kings. And a secret chamber at the top is held the Annal Stone, one of the 7 Palantiri. Ooh. We probably won't get a Palantir ourselves this run, but never say never. Right. I can already go to Rhûn now, but it would disable any remaining Gondor exploration contracts. We do not want to do that. In fact, let us unpause, and we shall patiently await to find some work in Gondor. There we go. So it seems we can now go and visit Alagdor, as some work has popped up in the region. Let's sell off at once. We will follow the Anduin south, and we'll see what this distant city has in store for us. Passing through a back alley in Barn en Dinnan, I see a lonely child and his dog sitting in a corner behind a small wall. Here you go, Valor, he tells it as he hands a small piece of bread, keeping none for himself. Looking at the two, clearly the dog has been taken much better care of than its owner. The kid must be giving it everything he can find. Oh, you poor lad. Can you not join my... Join my group, no? I could give him 5. Do you know what? Here's some food, child. I will be nice, I think. I'm not a mean guy. I'm not a... You know, I have some morals. So the gate to the south, the oldest city on the eastern side of the Anduin, Hyarpende, is in many ways a mirror of Pelargir, to which it had always been intertwined historically. From this city runs the Harad Road, which in earlier days carried goods and settlers from south from Gondor to the now contested and hostile lands to its south. As a result, it is both the gate to and guardian of the south. Travelers are both the lifeblood and the greatest threat to the city, and as such a vigilant watch is kept. From the ferry to Pelargir disembark troops moving to their stations in the militarized frontiers of Harondor, and others going the other way who are being reassigned. Unlike much of Gondor, its location and the northward retreat of Gondor's border has resulted in a not substantial southron quarter where the tongues of the folk of the south can be heard freely and more often. These hardy folk, often rebels or otherwise exiles from the lands of the south, have proven surprisingly loyal to the Winged Crown and form an important part of the frontier's continuing resilience. I wonder what lurks south? South of south? What is this? One day we shall go and explore those lands too. So Hyarpende has the port of Hyarpende. So Hyarpende was a Númenórean having built in 2432 of the Second Age opposite Pelargir, and what was originally a ferry station that linked Pelargir and Hyarmentia. If I'm mispronouncing any of this, feel free to correct me. As always, I am looking to improve on that. The Hyarpende growth grew accordingly to Pelargir's, and life in the city was intimately connected with that of Pelargir. By the late Second Age, the city had grown from a lazy village into a bustling gate to the lands east of the Anduin. Much like Pelargir, Hyarpende had in its early days been only a few miles away from the coasts, but after the downfall of Númenor, the coasts along the Bay of Belfalis had retreated a great distance, and the city was left far inland. Hyarpende remained the biggest city in the lands that would become Ithilien until the founder of Minas Ithil in 3320 of the Second Age. Interesting stuff. This is one of the reasons I really wanted to do this playthrough. We can learn a lot of lore, and it might even give inspiration for future playthroughs. Like maybe we could play as a character of that region and want to restore it or whatnot. I don't know. You guys can tell me if you think of any cool playthroughs as we go through this one. So it is known that the people of Pen Arduin seem to profess a special devotion towards their knights and their legends. My lord, it is most fortunate that you and I came to meet at this crossroad, for I am in search of a marvelous fountain, which water is said to cure all illnesses. If you were to help me in my quest, I shall pay homage to you. Ooh. I am ambitious, though. Really nice armor you have there, lad. Care to share a bill of coin with me? 210 gold. Ha ha ha. I mean, we don't have any use for men-at-arms right now, but at any moment, if I want to, I could get some heavy cavalry, which is nice. Right, let's zoom back out. And we must wait for another contract. Oh, we're going back down. Okay, so we've done Hyarpende, and now I have found some work in Pelargir as well. So let's go ahead and sign ourselves up for that. And we shall travel. Let's go on the west side of the Anduin this time. We went on the east. I want to see what's this side of the river. So as we walk through the streets of Landor, there's a loud ruckus by one of the market stalls with two men yelling at one another. Before we can make our way there, a man has already stepped in between them and talked them down. See, it will be fine, he tells the man in the stall with a smile, and hands him a castar. So the castor is a Gondorian coin, the chief currency used in the realm. It is equivalent to 4 Farni, which is, okay, it's like a quarter, and also known in Sindarin as the Miriam, which it means valued thing. Okay, its original meaning is unknown, but it is perhaps related to the old word kastu, meaning mafom, precious thing. Ah, okay. I like these highlights as well. We learn so much. And with that simple act of kind generosity, everything returns to normalcy. He turns to us as we approach, no banner or mark telling me of any liege or lord. Perhaps a wandering knight. Ah. I could have him join my camp, possibly. He's very rich. Well, I tell you what, I don't think so. I don't think so. We've got work to do. Let us continue south. So, the city of Pelargir. I have heard much of this city on the way. The largest in Gondor, some claim. The true heart of the realm in days of old. A second capital. The birth of their mighty fleets of old, and even now home to many a merchant and military vessel. I cannot truly judge, but regardless, it is truly impressive. Seemingly half built in the sea itself, the mighty rivers that join here flow through the heart of the city, with quays and dry docks aplenty astride them. At its core is a mighty isle, completely paved over, the very land and sea mastered by brilliant engineers. A sacred tower reportedly is at the isle's heart, with access forbidden to commoners. A ferry supposedly regularly runs between Pelargir and the lands across the Great River, and is always in need of hands. Here, more than anywhere in Gondor, folk of different lands have gathered, lending the port city a truly unique atmosphere. Its grand market is also, as a result, the most strange and exotic of all I have seen. Well, I do have a little bit of money saved up, and in fact, we have now got a sponge on a stick, right? That's not a very good artifact, though, so what I might do is when we get back to camp, I shall try and sell it if I can. So let's zoom in. If we look at Pelargir, we have the port of Pelargir, which, let's see, the oldest Númenórean settlement in Gondor, founded by the faithful in 2350 of the Second Age. Pelargir holds the distinct honour of being the home of the Royal Navy. It is also Gondor's primary maritime port, with vast quantities of trade goods flowing in and out of its marble storehouses. So once the second capital, it was deemed. This is cool stuff. We are learning a lot about the lands. Maybe we can implement lessons learned in the future when we return. Speaking of which, we do have this decision. So return to Mistrand. But 1, I need to be 25, and 2, I need 50 experience in each branch of my new trait here. So we're not going to do that until a little bit later on. Ideally, I would even like to... See, we're already level 2. I would like to max out all 3 of these before I return. I mean, it's free stats, and we get to read a lot of lore, so why not? Right, another job has been posted. Let us join the labourers, and we shall now march west, or travel west, sorry, to Dol Amroth. We shall leave at dawn, and begin travelling at once. This is very fun, though. It's a very different playstyle than what I'm used to. And I don't know, I think variety is good. And we are almost there. I was about to say, are we going to get there with no events? But we did get one. So as I get up early in the morning, I cannot help letting out a loud yawn, stretching and make my way out of the tent to see the people already moving about. I notice Hesnev heading off with what looks like a makeshift fishing rod. Through all the noise and bustle of camp. Where are you off to? I ask him. He responds with a nonchalant shrug. It is a nice day for fishing. Ah, I could lose 15 stress here. Let's rest a couple of days. We'll get some provisions and we lose stress. And that just reminded me, can't I can gather provisions. Right, let's do that. And I guess we'll see. Let's just do that. With my snares, I shall feed us all. We get some provisions. And I thought I could also go fishing. But I can't do it because I'm traveling. Right, let's put that on notify. Because we can also lose stress and gain provisions from that as well. Which would just help us keep things in check. Okay, so the city of the Silver Swan, Dol Amroth, supposedly named after a sort of sprite of myth, is an imposing city with high ramparts guarded by stern men. The people here are almost to a man tall, with many clean shaven. The women are beautiful, and even the lowest of means, dressed in finery to shame me, speak almost exclusively in the flowery tongue I have heard in other regions. I love the artwork as well, it's so good. Wandering around the city, I spy knights on horseback, their heavy armour like nothing I have ever seen. Banners with a winged swan can be found on every street corner, yet there is more to it than that. In one section of the city I can find a public forum with teachers and scholars hosting classes, some free. Much of it passes me by as my grasp of the tongue is rudimentary at best, but I still come away impressed. I hear every now and again a bell faintly ringing, marking the hours as they pass, carried on by the seaward breeze as ships come to dock beneath the city in the port. For whom does the bell toll? And I have just got baggage train has been constructed in my camp. So we gain more provisions, more supply, and we get some travel speed as well. Cool stuff. We get 3 buildings. Lovely. Maybe I can upgrade the camp at some point. So we take a closer look at Dol Amroth. We have the Hill of Amroth. So Belphilus was originally settled by the Sindar elves in the early Second Age. Eventually, a noble Númenorian family built a fortress on the promontory of the peninsula. This land, under the Númenorians, became known as Doran Ernil. Its lord was given the title of Prince by Elendil at the founding of the realms in Exile. The last of the elves of Belphilus passed overseas in 1981 of the Third Age, and the former king of Lorien, Amroth, died trying to swim back to shore. Since that time, the hill has been known as Dol Amroth, the Hill of Amroth. See, there's so much flavour added. Before now, I kind of just, when I looked at Gondor, I only saw Minas Tirith, right, and Minas Morgul. But now, oh, it's so cool learning about all these extra cities and whatnot. And they're also rich and different too. They're not like the capital at all, and yet in some ways they are at the same time. A figure stumbles into camp, dirty and tired, clearly in need of a square meal. His name is Incandil, he says. He is deceitful, so let's be wary of what he says. There are more like me. All of us left to rot after every petty conflict ends. Our sword arms work as well as ever, but our lot is to wander and starve. We are the only ones left who won't rob the vulnerable for food and valuables. I would rather die. I mean, I do know what it's like to be in his position. Not so long ago, I was just like him. I could recruit him. He's deceitful, but he's also trusting. Do you know what? We could use another blade. Incandil. I shall welcome you to my camp. And your wife may also join my camp as well, if she so desires. So with that, let's see. You're not a very good bodyguard, but I shall appoint you anyway. But more importantly, do I have a better physician now? No. Maybe at some point in the future. We will. But for now, let us travel back to the capital, and then we shall resume looking for some more work when the morning comes. So the trees stretch into the skies as I wander the rows of carefully placed trunks in the local orchard at Brethil. It is a good day for a walk. Suddenly, a high-pitched shriek pierces the air. I quicken my step only to find a peasant child below a tree, in shambles and sobbing violently. It would seem as if she made an attempt at climbing the tree before slipping and falling to the ground. One of the bone pipes are protruding at a strange angle. Here, I will soothe them, but we must find a physician at once. I fear I can't heal you, my friend. As I am looking for the market stores in Glorlach, I feel my purse string cut. Despite my immediate reaction, the thief disappears in the crowd, only through pure coincidence. One of my guards sees the man as he heads into a back alley. "Stop, or I'll have your head!" One of my guards shouts at him, and the thief turns around, giving us an angry, shifty stare. I could have him join my camp. But he did try to steal from me. Do you know what? You think you can steal from me? I will not allow such crimes. We need to hold on to our gold. I have plans for it. And let's go fishing now that we're back. So let's see. I could spend some time with Obad. You know, let's do it. And I would try my best to lose some stress. There we go. 35 stress. And our stress is now, in fact, all the way back to 0. Right. And we already have another contract. We are flying through these. How is our trait doing? Almost at level 3 already. So next, we go to the region of Linhir. What awaits us? So Linhir is just east of Dol Amroth, but it's part of, it's still part of the same sub-kingdom, I guess you could say. Duchy region is probably the word I'm looking for. A grotto emerges from the vegetation like a stone arch in a cathedral. On its entry, there's a small wooden table in a store. Someone has left a lantern burning on it. Careful, my lord. Obad holds his arms up in front of my chest. There are bandits in these lands. You are quick to make acquisitions. I am merely a hermit. And you, well, you carry the title of the captain. Ah, I could have him tell my future. Or I could ignore him and we gain travel speed. You know what? I don't want to be rude, but I have been recruited as a labourer to go and work in the region of Linhir, so I must set off at once. We have also unlocked our first martial trait, so let's see. I think for now, let's get Stalwart Leader, because this will reduce the risk of commanding armies in the future, and then I'm probably going to go down the strategist tree. This is, of course, a long-term investment. So, the city of Linhir, the largest city between Palagir and Dol Amroth. Linhir is no less impressive. A strong port, it has walls which perpetually are among the oldest in the realm, older than any others. It has a small dedicated squadron berthed in its quays, designated for patrolling the coastal regions, either for strays, lost, or pirates. The city supposedly has had a somewhat contentious history, as it straddles between two of Gondor's most populous and influential regions, Belfalus and Lebanon. I am told it possesses a stubborn and independent spirit, with the merchants and city fathers often seeking to answer to none but the highest authority of the greater realm. Rather than a regional lord, they take pride in their city and their homes, and it is obvious in many sigils and banners that can be found throughout it. Perhaps a little pride is not a bad thing. And look at that, we gain more inspiration. But we didn't get an artifact or any cool buildings. So Linhir, on the river here, also has its own unique model. And we have the walls of Linhir. So Linhir was founded by Anarion in the year 3421 of the Second Age, on the site of an existing faithful settlement on the banks of Gilrain. A significant dockyard for the royal fleet, it is traditionally seen as the second city of Lebanon after Pelagir. Surrounding the city are the Númenórean wars, part of which, including the Great Gate, predate the downfall. Though built on a less impressive scale than other more famous Gondorian fortifications, the walls of Linhir still make the city a formidable redoubt and refuge from Corsair raids. The Corsairs are from the lands of Umbar, right? Which is over here, I think? Yeah, over here. So we'll travel there in the future and learn a bit more about them as well. The road has gotten incredibly hilly the past few hours, and everyone is beginning to weary. After a while longer, with no end of the hills in sight, one of my travelling companions, Obad, approaches me and says, "My lord, our mounts cannot carry on like this for much longer. The poor animals need a break, or I fear they'll collapse. We must stop to rest." He knows full well that this would delay our journey to Pelennor. But you know what? He is right. I think it would be wise to rest. Let's not push the horses too much. We have much travelling to do. Much work to undertake. And we're only, if we look at our age, we're only 19. Not a lot of time has passed, and already we've done so much. And yet another job offer has now popped up in the region of Ed Helon. So let's take the contract. We shall leave at once, and once more, set off with the camp. Oh man, I love this. I don't know. It's so different. And of course, then in future at some point, we will return to Mistran with my camp. Which, if you don't know, that's all the way back in Rhûn, where we started. Oh, it's exciting stuff. But we have much to do and explore before we do that. Also, I just noticed we have roads here. So that actually makes traveling a lot faster as well, which is nice. So, the Silent Haven. Empty Edhelond is in equal parts serene and haunting. A city trapped in time, Edhelond was once a bustling haven of the Sindar elves, and their influence can be seen everywhere, from murals and elegant patterns that are carved into pillars and walls, to the marble buildings and quaysides that gleam and glitter in the sunlight. Now, however, all is quiet. It has been a millennium since the city was inhabited, the last inhabitants sailing west after the fall of Khazad-dûm, leaving behind the ill-fated Amroth. Yet it's said if you listen closely enough and for long enough, you can still hear faintly the fire voices of those who lived here all that time ago. Even those that are gone may still impart wisdom. And we now get baggage train in our camp, which gives us even more buildings. Level 2 baggage train. There we go. Okay. So we already had level 1 earlier. Let's see. So in Ed Helond, we have the Silent Haven. Once the abode of elves, the haven was finally abandoned in the aftermath of the death of Amroth in 1981 of the Third Age. Since then, the area has been technically under the control of the Gondorians, but the presence of the elven ruins means that very few live in the area. Ed Helond stands cold and silent, a tomb and memory to the elves who once had dwelled there. I remember, I think it was in our Aragorn playthrough, we had a decision to resettle elves here, didn't we? Maybe that could be a playthrough in future as well, where we can play as a Sindar elf, or I don't know if that's lore friendly, an elf of some kind who wants to resettle this. It could be. It could be. I shall add it to the list of playthroughs to consider. Has never stopped bathing, stopped even making an attempt to clean himself even, a fact I am brutally confronted with when several of my followers beg me to deal with him. I know what you're thinking, Captain, but it's not laziness. I spend my days walking, running or riding, all for the camp's good. Thus it's only natural for me to give off a little bit of musk, given everything I do around here. Is it so truly wrong to abandon the pretensions of it all? Regular sweating demands bathing, damn it. Go and wash yourself right this instant. You're stinking out the bloody camp, right? Let us return to Minas Tirith, where once again we shall wait to be recruited as a labourer. New stand with us contract. We're not going to be taking that though, of course. Alright, let's zoom back out. And we have in fact already found work, this time in Serelond. So I will go ahead and accept that. However, I think I'm going to leave it there for part 2. You guys let me know, what do you think of this character so far? Personally, I think it's very interesting and a nice change of pace. And what's nice is later on we get to travel back and then we're basically do a normal playthrough as well, but with more story. So personally, I think it's really cool. You learn a lot of lore. I think it enriches, especially like already Gondor feels much more rich to me, but I've learned a bit of the East as well from reading the culture and whatnot. Now after Gondor, we get to go south to Rhûn and then we'll go to Umbar. I don't know. I like it. I like it quite a lot. But yeah, you guys let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching. And as always, I will see you next time.